I'm Maricela Gomez from the Lender and Partner Activities Branch. Welcome to today's training on closing USDA loans made simple. Today we'll be referencing our Regulation 7 CFR 3555, Part C, and the Handbook 1 3555, Chapter 16, as they relate to loan closing and issuance of the loan no guarantee. Our topics will include closing the loan, requesting the loan no guarantee, issuance of the loan no guarantee, closing out the loan, post-closing, and finally, we will wrap up with some important and useful resources for our lending partners. Let's begin with the essential information regarding the loan closing requirements. When closing a loan, lenders must comply with all the conditions listed in the conditional commitment. The loan must not close before the conditional commitment is issued. Not following this rule could put the loan no guarantee issuance at risk. The loan should close within the required time frame. For purchase transactions, lenders have 90 days from the date that the conditional commitment was issued. A one-time 90-day extension may be granted. However, the lender must request agency approval prior to the expiration date of the conditional commitment. If the extension is granted, the agency will provide approval in writing. A new conditional commitment will be issued reflecting a new expiration date. The expiration date for new construction should correspond with the estimated project completion date, but not exceed 12 months. Conditional commitments have 180 days for new construction loans. The exception to this is the combination construction to permanent loan, also known as a single close construction, which is outlined in Chapter 12.12 of our handbook, where the loan no guarantee is issued once the construction loan is closed without waiting for completion of the property. We'll review more closing details regarding this type of loan. Once the loan is closed, the required documentation should be submitted within 30 days to the agency for the issuance of the loan no guarantee. There are some instances where the documentation may be submitted after 30 days of the loan closing under certain conditions, and we will go over that in more detail later in this presentation. Loans must close with the same or better terms and conditions as those that were initially approved in the conditional commitment. Lenders are required to inform the agency in writing about any modifications in loan terms or details regarding the applicants or property from the time the conditional commitment was issued until the loan is closed. The agency's resubmission policy in Chapter 5 covers changes that would require the release of the application in GUS or the update of underwriting documents for loans not supported by GUS. We'll review this further in this next slide. The agency does not require specific loan documents for closing, so industry standard legal documents may be used. Borrowers cannot get cash back at closing except for eligible expenses already paid out of pocket. If data changes after the conditional commitment is issued or prior to loan closing, the underwriting recommendation could be compromised. Under certain conditions, lenders must resubmit the loan for an updated evaluation. Chapter 5.3, Sections G and M present a list of criteria that will assist in determining whether it is necessary to resubmit a loan. Here we have a list of required and not required conditions. Ensure that you review Chapter 5 prior to requesting the release of a file. In situations where the credit report expires before the closing date and there has been no adverse impact, the lender simply needs to keep the updated credit report in the permanent case file. There is no need to request a GUS release or an updated evaluation. To avoid delays, lenders must allow rural development ample time to review changes that require agency approval. These requests should be emailed to the specific origination and processing division team that originally issued the conditional commitment. And as a reminder, if you request a GUS release or an updated evaluation after the conditional commitment has been issued, your resubmission will be treated as a new loan request and will be processed in date order received. So we want to make sure that you meet the criteria before releasing the file to avoid unnecessary delays. All individuals who apply for the loan and are liable for the mortgage debt needs to sign the loan application along with any additional documents. Again, the usual standard industry closing documents should be used when finalizing the loan. Any individuals whose signature is required by state law, such as a non-purchasing spouse, must also sign the security instrument and/or the note to create a valid first lien. Every applicant who will hold the title needs to sign the security instrument. Lenders should never ask borrowers to sign blank or incomplete documents. E-signatures are allowed. However, it is the lender's responsibility to make sure that the e-signature is valid and it complies with all legal standards. A power of attorney can be utilized when specific conditions have been satisfied. You may refer to Chapter 16 of our handbook, which offers additional guidance for both military personnel and in the case of incapacitated borrowers. Once again, electronic signatures are allowed if they follow the rules outlined in Chapter 15.4 of our handbook. Interest credit closings are designed to help borrowers who were supposed to close their loans at the end of the month but couldn't because of unforeseen circumstances. Lenders and borrowers can come to an agreement to add the daily interest to the borrower's account and start the mortgage payment on the first day of the following month. The lender's certification confirms that the loan has been processed and closed according to our regulations, ensuring it fulfills all the requirements stated in the conditional commitment, and that all necessary documents have been sent to the agency. The lender agrees that once they accept the terms laid out in the conditional commitment and after the receipt of the required fees related to the loan amount, Rural Development will issue a signed loan note guarantee. Next, we'll review the process of requesting the loan note guarantee, also referred to as the LNG. This request is made using the lender loan closing system or the LLC system. In order to access the lender loan closing or the LLC system, lenders must complete and submit the lender loan closing user agreement form. Along with this form, lenders are also required to have an approved Form RD 3555-16. You will need to set up a pre-authorized debit account, also known as a PAT account for pay.gov, in order to electronically submit the appropriate fees. Using the website or the QR code shown on this slide, click the link Lender PAT Account Maintenance on the USDA link website. This will allow the administrator to create a new PAT account or manage and delete any existing one. The LLC user agreement will appoint one or more security administrators. A security administrator can either be a lender security administrator or a branch security administrator. The role of lender administrator lets the user add and change PAT account details for any branch of the lender. The branch administrator role lets the user add and change PAT account details, but only for the branch they are linked to. Every administrator is required to have a valid identity and e-authentication. We encourage you to use the LLC user guide, which provides detailed instructions for the setup and management of all PAT accounts. You can find it in our USDA link training and resource library page under the loan closing tab. This is just a summary of the loan closing process. So again, we encourage you to use the lender loan closing user guide, which offers detailed instructions on how to submit loan closings. Okay, so when you request the loan note guarantee, the lender must submit the request within 30 days after the loan is closed. The lender certification certifies that the loan was closed according to the conditional commitment. The lender will maintain proof of hazard insurance and flood insurance if applicable. And documentation showing that the loan was closed properly must be provided to the agency. Requests that are received more than 30 days after the loan closed will still be considered, but you will need to include a payment history to show that the loan is up to date. You will also need to confirm that all escrow accounts are current and that neither the lender nor anyone else involved have contributed funds to bring and or maintain the mortgage current for the purpose of obtaining the loan note guarantee. The loan no guarantee won't be granted beyond 30 days of the loan closing if the loan was in default at the time it was requested. All loan closing transactions must be submitted to the agency electronically. Lenders can add or change a loan closing using the Lender Loan Closing Administration link found on the USDA link website. The link is provided to you on this screen. The same link will be used to process the closing and to upload the documents. The upfront guarantee fee and the technology fee will also be processed using the LLC system with pay.gov. If the agency is unable to issue the loan no guarantee, the lender will get a refund for the fee. However, once the loan no guarantee is issued, the fee is non-refundable. When you log into the LLC system, you will see this type of screen if you have access to several lenders. So make sure that you choose the right lender ID. The borrower loan details can be retrieved by using the tab Single Family Housing Lender Administration List. This enables the lender or the user to look up the borrower by borrower ID, borrower social security, the name and or state, or by lender loan number. The lender type is originating, the request type is obligation, and then you click submit. The details about the loan will be displayed and the loan status will show as obligated. In the Action dropdown, select Add Update Closing, and then select Action and press the Borrower ID hyperlink. The process of entering data for the loan closing is very simple. Most of the information will be auto-populated based on the lender's input from the application and details submitted via the GUS system. All fields must be completed by the lender unless they are grayed out. Lenders are no longer required to submit a request to the agency for updating the servicing or holding lender in our system. The lender is responsible for directly updating these fields rather than depending on the agency to make corrections. This helps prevent errors and protects data integrity. This update, though, can only be done at the time the lender submits the closing. And after the closing or the loan no guarantee is issued, the lender will no longer have edit permissions. You can review page 8 of the LLC user guide for further guidance. The details entered onto this page must match those of the closing documents. If the note amount or interest rate increase, you will use the resubmission process we talked about earlier. If the ratios exceed what the agency has already approved, it could result in the loan or guarantee request being denied. The fee section will be pre-filled according to the loan amount established for the upfront guarantee fee and the technology fee. If the loan amount was decreased, the upfront guarantee fee will automatically modify when the lender submits the page. The deposit date will stay blank until the fees have been paid. The confirm lender submission will have you review the information you entered. If you find incorrect information, you can click cancel to return to the add closing page to make the appropriate corrections. After the information has been entered into the LLC system and confirmed to be accurate, you will select OK at the final prompt to submit the closing for the agency review. After the closing has been submitted, you must upload the necessary documents to support the request. This process is carried out under the same tab. Once you input the borrower ID, you can select the action from the borrower ID link that's labeled Upload Documents. On the Lender Upload Documents page, select the files that you want to upload. At the very least, you need to upload the promissory note and the closing disclosure as separate files. Additionally, any other documents mentioned in the conditional commitment should also be uploaded separately. There are 3 fields available, but you can add more by clicking on Insert More Documents. After you click Submit Documents and hit the OK button, you'll see all the files names next to the document selection. Then just click on Upload Documents Completed to complete the process. Once the loan has been successfully submitted, you can verify if the required fees have been received by checking the Payment History tab. Again, you have multiple ways to search for the loan. Moving on to agency review and the issuance of the loan no guarantee. The agency will review the required loan closing documents to ensure that the lender has met all the conditions outlined in the conditional commitment. For submissions that are incomplete, the agency will give an extra 30 days to make the corrections. Lenders will be notified about any loan packages that are not complete. If the corrections cannot be done within the 30 days, the agency will send back the closing package. For submissions that are considered acceptable, the agency will check and verify that the closing documents comply with the requirements and that all fees have been paid. The loan no guarantee and the loan amortization schedule will be forwarded to the lender, and a copy will be retained in our records. If a submission is acceptable, if the submission is not acceptable due to errors in the closing documents, doesn't meet the conditions outlined in the conditional commitment, the applicant gets excess cash back at closing, or if the loan doesn't meet the program requirements, the agency will not issue the loan no guarantee. If the agency decides that the loan no guarantee will not be issued, the lender will be notified and appeal rights will be provided as outlined in Appendix 3 of the handbook. The Attachment 16B Loan Closing Reference Guide is a great tool that contains frequently asked questions regarding corrections and can be found at the end of Chapter 16. I want to take a moment to briefly go over the loan no guarantee. The loan no guarantee serves as proof of the agency's backing if a loan goes into default. So it's important to understand the proper procedures and regulations for issuing it to make sure that it can be sold in the secondary market and to safeguard the interest of the note holder. It represents an obligation from the United States supported by full faith and credit on which it was issued. It is uncontestable if the loan was originated in accordance with the regulations. Misrepresentation, negligent servicing, violation or regulations, or unauthorized use of funds will make the guarantee invalid. To secure the loan no guarantee, the lender must submit all necessary documents and confirm that regulations were followed, as stated in Form RD 3555-18. Let's go over the proper steps for closing out the loan in the LLC system. As I mentioned earlier, our single close construction loans require an important step for closers and post-closers to complete after the construction is completed. You can refer to our Handbook 13555, Chapter 12.20 for more information. We encourage you to always check the Single Close Rehab User Guide that's available in our link training and resource library page under loan closing for complete instructions on how to finalize this type of loan. A website and a QR code that links to the site is included for your convenience. There are no distinctions when you request a loan no guarantee on the Add Loan Closing screen for either a standard purchase loan or a single close construction loan. The difference comes after you have completed the construction phase of the single close construction loan. Again, you will encounter this screen. Make sure you select the correct lender ID. You will retrieve the borrower's loan information in the Single Family Housing Lender Administration List tab, as we reviewed earlier. On this screen, the lender type will be selected as originating, and the request type will be selected as loans, with the action drop-down as single close construction rehab. The details of the loan will then appear. Note that the three options for completion type at the bottom, your options are principal reduction only, principal reduction with loan modification, and construction complete. Select the appropriate completion type. For loans that have remaining funds after construction and do not require a loan modification, you will choose principal reduction only as your completion type. The fields you'll need to complete for this option are construction completion date, principal reduction date, modified unpaid principal balance, and the principal reduction amount. You will need to provide the supporting documents to show evidence of the principal reduction. If the loan will have remaining funds post-construction and will involve a loan modification, you will select principal reduction with loan modification as your completion type. If you're using this option, you will need to complete the following fields: the construction completion date, the modified unpaid principal balance, principal reduction date, principal reduction amount, loan modification date, and lower interest rate when applicable. You will also need to upload supporting documents of the principal reduction and the loan modification. And finally, for loans where the construction has been completed and will not require principal reduction or loan modification, you will select construction complete, no principal reduction or loan modification as your completion type. With this option, you only need to enter the construction completion date. Again, these are very important steps to take to properly close out a single close construction loan. On our next topic, there are some important post-closing items to keep in mind. After the loan closing, you can retrieve the loan no guarantee from the LLC system under the same tab as the closing using the Display Documents option in the Action dropdown. You can also retrieve it from the GUS system. At this point, the lender can view, print, and keep the loan no guarantee in their permanent loan file. The holding lender can also access the loan through the same tab. This tab helps with loan servicing tasks and enables the lender to view closing documents. Following the loan closing, the lenders must compare the deed of trust or real estate mortgage with the title opinion to confirm the lien priority. The lender must verify the collateral is properly secured and that all closing instructions were followed. The agency doesn't set regulations about survey requirements. It's the lender's responsibility to ensure that ownership interest, which protects the security property, has been obtained and kept in their records after the loan is closed. Should the borrower fail to fulfill their loan responsibilities, the lender must be able to start foreclosure on the property to recover the outstanding debt. If the lien requirements are not met, the originating lender could face an indemnification. The agency accepts two types of ownership: fee simple and secure leasehold. While fee simple ownership is preferred, leasehold interests are acceptable if all of the following conditions are met. One, the applicant must be unable to obtain fee simple title to the property. Two, rent charged for the lease must not exceed the rate paid for comparable leases. And third, the appraisal must document these conditions. The lessor must own the fee simple title. Currently, this provision is not applicable to a lessor who is Native American holding a leasehold interest on restricted land. Trust or restricted land must continue to maintain its status. In such cases, the mortgage, deed of trust, lease interest, or any other security interest must receive approval from the Secretary of the Interior. Detailed guidance on acceptable forms of ownership can be found in Chapter 16.12b of our handbook. Until loans are completely paid off, lenders must ensure that their borrowers maintain insurance on the property. A few things to keep in mind: for hazard insurance, the lender must ensure that the policy is in effect at the time of loan closing. And again, the lender must ensure that insurance is maintained for the life of the loan. The policy should indicate if the property is a leasehold to ensure that state law requirements are met. And lenders should adopt accepted industry standards for hazard insurance, which means hazard insurance providers should have ratings in accordance with the most recent GSE requirements. Policies should conform to the GSE coverage requirements of the Standard Extended Coverage Endorsement, which basically states that a policy cannot be accepted that in whole or part excludes wind, hurricane, or catastrophe insurance unless the coverage is provided in another policy with the same coverage limits. Borrower occupied properties should have replacement cost coverage in an amount that is at least equal to the guaranteed value of the improvements or the unpaid principal balance. Deductibles should not exceed 5% of the total coverage amount. In the same way, if a home is situated in a special flood hazard area as designated by FEMA, the property needs to be in a community that participates in the National Flood Insurance Program, and the borrower is required to obtain flood insurance. Similar requirements apply to flood insurance. The lender must ensure that the policy is in effect at the time of loan closing, and the lender must ensure that the borrower continuously maintains flood insurance for the life of the loan. The flood insurance must cover the lesser of the outstanding principal balance of the loan or the maximum amount of coverage allowed under the NFIP. The maximum deductible clause for a flood insurance policy should not exceed $10,000. The lender needs to check all policies to make sure that the requirements are met, and a copy of the policy should be kept in the lender's permanent loan file. Before we end, we want to make sure that you are aware of all the resources that are available to you to help navigate our program. The main place to find resources for origination and servicing, along with guides, is the USDA Lien Training and Resource Library page. The Lien homepage has just been updated to show the turn times for conditional commitments and improving its look and functionality. This site is a key place for information, so we recommend you save it as a bookmark for easy access, since you'll be referring to it frequently. Also, if you've missed any important updates from GovDelivery, you could easily find an archive of previous emails on the site. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure you sign up for the GovDelivery notifications to keep yourself updated on policy changes or upcoming live events or trainings. A QR code is provided to quickly save the Lien library page. Our technical handbook, referred to as the Handbook 13555, aims to improve the understanding of the regulations and offers extra insights. With 19 comprehensive chapters, this handbook is designed to supplement the 7 CFR. Don't forget to bookmark these resources, and as with any document, use the Control F to navigate quickly. Our policy team has put together a helpful resource as an FNAQ document. This document answers important questions from lenders who want to better understand how regulations and handbook policies relate to particular situations. It provides great examples and some interesting scenarios, so we encourage you to review it and check back for updates because it is updated frequently. If you still have questions after exhausting your resources, we're here to help you. To get the contact information for the staff involved in the Single Family Housing Guaranteed Loan Program, scan the QR code. You can also contact the support team by sending your questions to the specific email address for the guarantee team. You can also reach us at our toll-free number. And to get a quicker response, please choose the option that relates to your question. And if you are experiencing technical problems with Gus, we have provided that phone number to call. We believe that the Single Family Housing Guarantee Program is a great opportunity for home buyers with low to moderate incomes who want to buy homes in rural areas. The success of this program relies on the collaboration of our lenders, so we want to say thank you. We value your partnership and are excited to work alongside you. Thank you, and this concludes today's training. Have a great day.